Hello Year 10, this is a quick video to help you with 2.7 of your spring homework booklet. So Year 10 Part 2 spring homework booklet. Okay, so now today we're going to be looking at 2.7. Now one of the things that you'll notice is I started doing it and then the video kind of didn't work. So you've got your grids, okay, so you've got 1, 2, and then you've got 3, 4, and 5. Well, you notice that 3 is a bit longer, and this is because it's a quick mini practice of a paper 1 question 2. Now, remember, for paper 1 question 2, you want to be using kind of the idea of writing about the techniques, the evidence, the purpose, and then the effects. So if you turn over to your cheat sheet, okay, you can see that you've got question 2. And then it tells you how to write it, and it gives you a bit of advice here in terms of what you really need to do. So you need to focus on the technique, you need to give that evidence, you do need to explain how that word is being used in the answer, and answer the question, the focus of the question, and then zoom in on a word. So going back to what I was doing, what we've got here is it says, how does the writer use language to describe the place? Now look, the place is not, they're not being specific about the place. I don't know what the place is. I'm going to have to figure it out as I'm reading. So look, I started reading it already. So even in the daytime, number 56 Croxley Street looks sinister. So I already know that this place is going to be a bit scary and a bit ominous and a bit threatening. Actually, I'm starting to get words in my mind that I might want to use. Now, it was built of dark stone that had been stained darker in places where rain had dripped down from broken gutters. Now, one of the first things that I notice is that you've got the word dark and darker. Now, this is called polyptyton. Okay, and this is when a writer is using repetition of the root word of a word. So can you notice you've got dark and then you've got darker. So it's not repeating the word dark, but it's repeating the word root, the root dark in darker. So that's actually quite effective actually at maybe creating a bit of an atmosphere. Now actually when I think about the word dark here, I don't want to use the word sinister because I've already used that, but we think maybe if I was doing magic circles on this, already that something is threatening, that something is dangerous, that something is maybe a bit ominous. And so you've got actually already loads of ideas that you can kind of start focusing on there, just based on that technique. In places where rain had dripped down from the broken gutters. Now, I've got a bit, I'm starting to get, and I'm going to highlight this in a different way, a bit of a semantic field of being run down. So I've got actually the word stain, I've got the word broken, okay. I might see if I've got more words that kind of link to that. From the grey slate of the roof down to the ground, there was no lightness or colours anywhere. The trees and bushes in the garden were a miserable dark green. So look at this, I've got the word dark again. Now that is definitely a repetition of the word dark, but I'm going to highlight it. That seemed to swallowed up the light. Buddy noticed that where the branches of one of the bushes leaned against the stone of the house, the leaves had died as though poisoned by its touch. Oh, so that this, look at this. This house is being described as quite dangerous and run down and lacking stability, and oh, my laptop is about to die, and unpleasant, really. There's something very horrible about this house. So not only do I have the repetition of dark, then I've also got actually this kind of semantic field of it being run down. The rain had dripped down, and then I had this idea of having were miserable. I would say again kind of creates this semantic field, SF, of it being run down and horrible. Now, I love semantic field because that means that then you can actually zoom in on the different words and what those words make you think of. Now, you've got as well, I know that I've just highlighted miserable there with the dark, but I would say that this is also a bit of kind of like personifying the house in terms of it being a miserable. Like they don't tend to have that emotion. So the garden, so I'm going to say the garden is being personified there. Okay, so you can analyze personification. And again, that idea of looking at the colours. You've got actually, again as well, seem to swallow up the light. So the garden were a miserable dark green that seemed to swallow up the light. Again, you've got their personification because it can't swallow the light, but it's swallowing the light. And then I love that word there, swallow. That makes me think of something that is like consuming, overwhelming. It seems to be draining everything. Okay, so you've got that idea there. Buddy noticed that the branches of one of the bushes leaned against the stone of the house. The leaves had died as though poisoned. So again, that looks like suggesting, like by associating the house with poison, it suggests that it is dangerous, threat, maybe something evil, almost maybe even supernatural about this place. Like, why is it like this? It emphasizes that it's all unwelcoming, unpleasant. So it's about writing about all of those things within your answer. You find your technique, you zoom in on the words, and you start to think about what ideas come to mind. And the more that you say, try not to repeat yourself. Try not to say the word. Do you notice here I put dangerous and threatening, and then I've already put dangerous and threatening. So if I was going to analyze the word poisoned here, I might not repeat this idea of dangerous and threat, or I need to come up with a synonym that is that suggests that is dangerous threat. I might suggest maybe the word like as hazard, okay? Because I don't want to keep on saying the same words and then look at the other ideas that I've got there. Okay, so that's just to help you write that one a tiny bit. And then remember, you have got your extended longer answer. Now remember, you are writing for this at least, okay, so at least 5 paragraphs. And you've done the hard work already. Your hard work is on your planning here. Okay, well, you decided that you were going to write about in there. Now, I'm going to do a tiny bit of a model for my first one, but then I'm going to not do the rest. So imagine I said that in my planning, I was going to start with the rain and the sky and all that kind of stuff. So that's actually how I'm going to start my writing. I wanted to create like a dark and ominous kind of atmosphere in this journey, that there's a sense of laziness and sadness. Maybe somebody's going to work, and sometimes we might feel happy, but sometimes we might not want to go to work. So let's see how I start my writing. So I might do something like, let me see, how am I going to do it? So I decided I was going to write about the rain. I was going to talk about the wind. So let's see. I'm kind of thinking wind. I've got fell like bullets. Okay, I think I know. I've got an idea. All right, I'm going to start it like this. Like I said, I'm going to start it with a concrete sky. I like starting my sentences like this. So let's see. The concrete sky. Now, year 10, if you can come up with another idea that's like the idea of concrete, think of something grey and that's heavy and weighing down. So the concrete sky, heavy, over the horizons, because you might have differences. Darkening the morning dew. So I'm talking about like the morning dew is like that bit of water that you get over leaves and over like everything. So look at this. I've got the concrete sky way heavy over the horizons, darkening the morning dew. I'm showing, not telling. What I'm telling you here, that even though it is morning, it's actually still quite dark. Okay, there is no light surrounding, and I'm trying to create that kind of atmosphere, a bit like a winter morning when you wake up and there's no light. Okay, so I said I want to describe the rain. Okay, so I've got the concrete sky. Oh, I must start with the wind actually. So I've got the concrete sky way heavy over the horizons, darkening the morning dew. Now, because I started with the concrete sky, I don't want to start with the wind. So I might use, remember, like you've got that idea of using I-space sentences. So you might start it with an ing verb or a simile. So I'm going to start this with a simile. So, like a wild, child. Okay, so I'm going to do that. Like a wild child. The wind howled and shrieked. So I'm trying to make it really noisy. Howled and shrieked. Comma. What is it doing? Pushing and shoving. Pushing and shoving. So I'm trying to personify the wind here. Like a wild child, the wind howled and shrieked, pushing and shoving. Were there trees in the picture? There were some trees actually. So shoving the towering trees pushing and shoving the towering trees that had just woken. Now I'm going to carry on talking about the wind. Its cries, muffling. So when we think about the morning, we think about like birds and waking up. But I'm talking about now how the tree is like the wind is totally muffling that lovely morning song. So its cries, muffling. Earth's morning song. Now, what I'm trying to show you here is, look, it takes a bit of time to write creatively. I am slowing down. I'm thinking about what I'm writing. I'm thinking about how I want to develop my idea. I've talked about the sky. I've talked about the wind. I don't want to just do one sentence about the wind. I want to develop it a tiny bit more. Now, I'm going to carry on. So the echoes might because I would talk about like bullets. I might make it a bit softer because I'm talking about the wind being really loud. So I'm going to do the echoes of the morning rain. Now I'm still going to use the idea of really noisy, like the rain. I'd maybe not bullets, but I'm going to do something with it. So the echoes of the morning rain rattled. I'm still going to focus on the trees here. Rattled. Now I'm going to describe the leaves, the color of the leaves. No, you're just going to say green. I'm going to say the word verdant. That means it's another word for green. Leaves. So the echoes of the morning rain rattled the verdant leaves and began seeping into sodden. Now sodden means like really wet. Began seeping into the sodden ground. Now, all my less sentences here are quite long, so I might want to use a few like minor sentences. So I might do something like this. Mist. gloom. Okay, really, I love writing gloomy stuff. Now mist, gloom. Now I'm going to do the idea of repeating mist, gloom, gloom. Again, I'm using personification there. I'm using an abstract noun. Gloom took over. And I'm going to give a tiny bit of background as why gloom took over. Gloom took over as he saw the I want to describe the road as he saw the never ending road spread before him. Now I'm going to use, this is from a poem that, I don't know if you've done Ozymandias yet, some of you. So spread before him, boundless. Okay, so I'm adding that kind of bit of writing. So I've done my weather, and now I would move on to, I'm starting to introduce the setting. So I said about the road. Now look at this. So never ending road spread before him. So my next paragraph would be the road. And I did that, but no, it doesn't have to have a capital letter, the road, okay? And I did that, the road, and then I start a minor sentence, the road, and then I would start describing that, okay? But the key thing here is, when you do your 5 paragraphs, maybe you do 6 because you're going to use a 1-line paragraph. That's the bare minimum, but look at how detailed that is. Look at, I'm describing, I'm not just saying, and then this happened, and then this happens. I am showing rather than telling. Nowhere am I saying, well, I am kind of saying that it is dark, but I'm not saying it is dark. I'm creating the atmosphere of being dark. I'm creating the atmosphere of not being happy because you've got a long journey ahead. That is really important in the way that you write this question. Okay, I hope you find this helpful. Can't wait to read your stories.